In a countdown to Halloween, I'm going to be reviewing my top 45 favorite horror movies ever created. In this video, we are only going to be going over the numbers 45 through 35, and in the video next week, we'll be going 34 through 24, and you get the gist. The Phantom of the Opera is a PG-13 rated musical drama with a runtime of 2 hours and 23 minutes. It was released December 22nd, 2004, and was directed by Joel Schumacher. This film centers around a Paris opera house and a gifted young vocalist, Christine Daae, whose mysterious teacher is none other than the opera ghost himself. The cast consists of Emmy Rossum, Gerard Butler, and Patrick Wilson. The Phantom of the Opera has received these reviews from popular outlets such as a 7.2 out of 10 from IMDb and a 32% by Rotten Tomatoes. I personally have to give this film a 9 out of 10 as I've grown up with this film and it is absolutely my favorite musical ever created. I love this cast. It has a phenomenal cast and music that's all composed by Andrew Lloyd Webber. Abigail is a rated R horror comedy with a runtime of 1 hour and 49 minutes. It was released April 19th, 2024, and was directed by Tyler Gillett and Matt Bettinelli-Olpine. This film centers around criminals who kidnap the daughter of a wealthy man, unaware that she is not a normal little girl. The cast consists of Melissa Barrera, Alicia Ware, Dan Stevens, William Catlett, Catherine Newton, Kevin Durand, and Angus Cloud. Abigail has received these reviews from popular outlets such as a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb, an 83% by Rotten Tomatoes, and a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I personally have to give this film a 7 out of 10 as I found it to be very intriguing and interesting and had a great cast and an interesting, mysterious storyline. Freaky is a rated R horror comedy with a runtime of 1 hour and 42 minutes. It was released November 13th, 2020, and was directed by Christopher Landon. This film centers around a teenage girl and a serial killer who accidentally swap bodies and only have 24 hours before the change becomes permanent. The cast consists of Catherine Newton, Vince Vaughn, Uriah Shelton, and Celeste O'Connor. Freaky has received these reviews from popular outlets such as a 6.3 out of 10 from IMDb, an 84% by Rotten Tomatoes, and a 3.1 out of 5 from Letterboxd. I personally have to give this film an 8 out of 10 as I found it to be very interesting, funny, and gory. The Shining is a rated R horror film with a runtime of 2 hours and 23 minutes. It was released May 23rd, 1980, and was directed by Stanley Kubrick. This film centers around an author who becomes the caretaker for the hotel during the winter and brings along his wife and son, and eventually they all become targets of a sinister presence. The cast consists of Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, Danny Lloyd, and Scatman Crothers. The Shining has received these reviews from popular outlets such as an 8.4 out of 10 from IMDb, an 84% by Rotten Tomatoes, and a 4.2 out of 5 by Letterboxd. Personally, I'm not the biggest Stephen King fan, but I do have to rate this movie a 7 out of 10, as I did find it more entertaining than I originally thought I was going to. And this might be a hot take, but I did like the movie better than I liked the book. This next film review is of Dr. Sleep, so if you haven't seen Dr. Sleep or The Shining, I'd suggest you skip to whatever timestamp I put up on screen to avoid any spoilers from either The Shining or Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep is a rated R horror film with a runtime of 2 hours and 32 minutes. It was released November 8, 2019, and is directed by Mike Flanagan. This film centers around a grown-up Danny Torrance who protects a girl with abilities like his from a cult known as the True Knot. The cast consists of Ewan McGregor, Rebecca Ferguson, and Kaylee Curran. Dr. Sleep has received these reviews from popular outlets such as a 7.3 out of 10 by IMDb, a 78% by Rotten Tomatoes, and a 3.4 out of 5 by Letterboxd. I personally have to give this film an 8.5 out of 10 as I found it to be a fascinating story, it had a great cast, and I actually really liked it better than The Shining movie too. Talk to Me is a rated R supernatural horror film with a runtime of 1 hour and 35 minutes. It was released July 28, 2022, and is directed by Michael Philippou and Danny Philippou. This film centers around a group of friends who communicate with the dead through the help of an embalmed hand. The cast consists of Sophie Wilde, Joe Bird, Alexandra Jensen, and Miranda Otto. Talk to Me has received these reviews from popular outlets such as a 7.1 out of 10 by IMDb, a 94% by Rotten Tomatoes, and a 3.5 out of 5 by Letterboxd. I personally have to give this film a 7 out of 10 as I found it to be very interesting, very unique, and very gory. Orphan is a rated R horror film with a runtime of 2 hours and 3 minutes. It was released July 24th, 2009, and is directed by Hamid Khaletsara. This film centers around a couple who adopt a young girl and soon find out that she has a very mysterious past. The cast consists of Isabel Fuhrman, Vera Farmiga, Ariana engineer Jimmy Bennett, Peter Sarsgaard, and Margot Martindale. Orphan has received these reviews from popular outlets such as a 7 out of 10 by IMDb, a 60% by Rotten Tomatoes, and a 3.3 out of 5 by Letterboxd. I personally have to give this film a 7.5 out of 10, as I found it to be very unique and very unsettling, and it is actually very, very, very loosely based on true events. This next review is going to be of Orphan First Kill, so I suggest if you haven't seen Orphan that you might want to skip to whatever timestamp I put on the screen in just a moment to avoid spoilers for both this movie and Orphan as well. Orphan First Kill is a rated R horror movie with a runtime of 1 hour and 39 minutes. It was released August 19th, 2022, and was directed by William Brent Bell. This film is a prequel to Orphan and centers around Lena Klammer, who escapes from a psychiatric facility and escapes from Russia to America by impersonating a missing girl, Esther. The cast consists of Isabel Fuhrman, Julie Stiles, Matthew Findlay, and Rossif Sutherland. Orphan First Kill has received these reviews from popular outlets such as a 5.9 out of 10 from IMDb, a 70% by Rotten Tomatoes, and a 2.7 out of 5 by Letterboxd. I personally have to give this film a 6 out of 10, as I liked Orphan much better than this film, but the twist in this one was really good. Satanic is a rated R horror suspense film with a runtime of 1 hour and 25 minutes. It was released July 1st, 2016, and is directed by Jeffrey Hunt. This film centers around friends that travel around LA, exploring places that are known for relations to occult and human sacrifices, and eventually manage to release something that is much more powerful than them. The cast consists of Sarah Hyland, Sophie Dalla, Justin Chon, Clara Mamet, and Steven Kruger. Satanic has received a 3.7 out of 10 review from IMDb, but personally I have to give this film a 7.5 out of 10, as I actually found it to be very unique, and I absolutely loved the twist. Polaroid is a PG-13 horror film with a runtime of 1 hour and 28 minutes. It was released January 10th, 2018, and is directed by Lars Kjellberg. This film centers around a vintage Polaroid camera that kills the people that are captured within its pictures. The cast consists of Catherine Prescott, Tyler Young, Madeline Pesh, Katie Stevens, Mitch Pileggi, and Javier Botet. Polaroid has received these reviews from popular outlets such as a 5.2 out of 10 on IMDb and a 29% by Rotten Tomatoes. I personally have to give this film an 8 out of 10, as I found it to be very unique and very entertaining. Malignant is a rated R horror action film with a runtime of 1 hour and 52 minutes. It was released September 10th, 2021, and was directed by the incredibly talented James Wan. This film centers around a woman who experiences shocking visions only to find out that they are actually very real. The cast consists of Annabelle Wallace, McKenna Grace, Maddie Hassan, Jake Abel, Madison Wolfe, John Lee Brody, and Ingrid Bizu. Malignant has received these reviews from popular outlets such as a 6.2 out of 10 by IMDb, a 77% by Rotten Tomatoes, and a 3.1 out of 5 by Letterboxd. I personally have to give this film a 9 out of 10, as I found it to be very interesting, very entertaining, and extraordinarily unique, and the gore and the storyline were also exceptionally different.